Hi everyone. Before we start this video, we just wanted to address a few things. To start off with, we hope that you're doing well and are staying safe. Secondly, we want to apologise for not uploading anything over the last year and a half. We are, however, going to start uploading a lot more from now on. We are planning on continuing with our RPG series and Lumberyard series. If you have any other suggestions on what you'd like to see, please let us know in the comments. Now, let's get on with the video. In today's video, we're going to be having a look at how to import assets into Lumberyard. What actually is an asset? An asset is essentially anything that can go into a game, including 3D models, sound effects, music, code snippets, and modules. So how can I get and import assets into my game? Well, that's what I'm going to be showing you in this video. The first thing that we need to do is to actually get our asset that we're going to import. Today we're going to be importing a 3D model asset into Lumberyard. There are lots of paid and free services on the internet that you can get your assets from. However, I'm going to be using a website called CG Trader. I will leave a link in the description if you'd also like to get your assets from this website. CG Trader has a range of free and paid assets. However, today we're going to be using their free ones. So to start off with, we need to head over to CG Trader. Once loaded, you'll be presented with their homepage where you can search for a model of your choice. I'm going to search for a house, as I think that will fit perfectly with our RPG series. Once loaded, as you can see, you're presented with a wide range of assets to choose from. At the top, you will notice a little checkbox with the word free next to it. If you click this, it will show you all of the models that are free to download. As you can see, there are hundreds of free ones, so you don't need to essentially pay for one. But if you wanted to, of course, then you can go ahead and do so. I'm going to go ahead and choose this asset here, as it will work well in our game. So once you've chosen your asset, you want to go ahead and click on the free download button located on the right side of the page. When you're clicked, it will start to download, and just give it a few seconds for it to download to your computer. When you click the free download button, you will be presented with a menu of similar choice. You want to go ahead and download the FBX file and the texture zip file. If you aren't presented with a texture zip file, this is because the asset you're trying to download doesn't come with a texture zip file. You either want to find another asset that does come with a texture zip file, or you can go ahead and still download the FBX file. However, when you import it into Lumberyard, your asset won't have a texture. So when you click the download button, you'll be presented with a login form. You either want to log in or register. I'll be back once I've logged in. Once you've signed in with your account, you'll then be brought back to this page again, where you'll have to click on the FBX download and the textures download button again. When you click on it, it will download to your computer. You just want to go ahead and click save once it's downloaded, and you also want to do the same for the textures, and then save it again and wait for it to download. Once you've downloaded the zip file, you can go ahead and close CG Trader, as we won't be using it again. Once it's downloaded, it should have downloaded 2 zip files. You then need to extract both of these. So let's go ahead and do that. As you can see, I've now extracted both of these files, so we can go ahead and delete both the zip files. And it has extracted both of the cottage textures which we need, as well as the cottage FBX file that we're going to be using to import into Lumberyard. So you now want to open up Lumberyard so we can import these assets. Once Lumberyard has opened, you want to go ahead and open a level. As you can see here, this is the level that we created in our last episode of this RPG series. So we've downloaded the assets. Now we need to import them into Lumberyard. We need to take the FBX file that we just extracted from the file and put it into a same folder as the textures. So to do this, we can just copy this and put it into here. And we want to go into the textures file, go into the, it might be another sub-level folder depending on what asset you downloaded. And you want to take the diffuse and the normal one. We don't need the description txt file. So we could copy those and we can paste it into here. We can now go ahead and delete these 2 folders as we've got everything we need inside them. So there are multiple ways in which you can get your assets into Lumberyard. But the way I'm going to be showing you today is essentially just dragging it from the Explorer window into the Lumberyard editor. So if we take all three and drag it into Lumberyard, Lumberyard will recognize that we're trying to import an asset. You don't need to change the destination folder, as ideally you'd like your assets to be stored inside of your project directory. However, the next step is up to you. You can either choose to copy the files or to move the files. This is totally up to you, as it doesn't really matter. Personally, I'm just going to move the files. However, you might want to copy the files just in case you'd like a backup, for example. Okay, so I'm going to go move the files, and now you want to go ahead and click on import. The asset, it will then give you a message stating the asset process will be used to process the asset. So that's fine, and it will give you a status if you want. And as you can see, it's all finished. So as you can see, that was very quick. So to actually view these assets, if you go into your RPG folder located in the asset browser on the left here, if you can't see your asset browser, then you can go ahead and click on Tools, Asset Browser, and the asset browser will open up. So you then want to locate to your project directory, and you'll notice that we have the files that we just imported. However, you might notice that we have an extra one, a .mtl file. This is generated by Lumberyard, and we'll be using this later on after we've imported our asset. So you want to go ahead and click on your FBX asset, and then you just want to drag it into Lumberyard. And as you'll see, it has loaded it in, but it's a bit wobbly with the ground, as you can see, which we will fix later. And the main obvious point is it has no texture. So you may be wondering, how do we actually do this? So this is where our .mtl file comes in use. So you want to go ahead and double click it, and it will open up the material editor. Once opened, you'll notice that we have two squares, one with a sphere in it, that's white, and another just empty blank square. But at the bottom, you'll notice that it's got the name of our asset we just imported. If you go ahead and click on it, it will open two boxes below with loads and loads of information. However, the bit we're focusing on now is the textures map on the right hand side. However, you notice that the diffuse here, it just doesn't match what we need. It's just matching to a white. So if you go ahead and click on these three dots, it will open up a file editor where you could pick the assets. You then want to navigate to your project directory, and then you want to click on your diffuse.png. You then want to click on OK, and that's our first texture loaded in. You then want to click on this little drop down, and then you want to select the three dots again to select the normal map, and then you want to click again, click the normal.png and click OK. This has now added everything for our asset. However, if the asset that you downloaded comes with a specular, then you can import it here, as well as a detailed one if it gets imported here. What I'd like to do is always click on the save item button here afterwards, just in case, as data can sometimes be lost and it can sometimes not be saved. So always make sure you click on the save before you close the material editor. And once we close it, you'll see that our asset now has a texture. So we've imported our asset and we've added the textures to it. So this process applies to any asset you're importing. And you might have noticed that our asset has appeared in the entity outliner in the top left hand corner in this box. All the assets we import into our level will load into this entity outliner. So you may be wondering now, how do we actually move this asset? As you can see, if we zoom in below, it's not like level with the ground, and it just doesn't fit that well, because especially if your terrain is not smooth. So to move it, you go ahead and click on the little arrow pointer, which when highlighted over it will select move. You then will get the 3-axis gimbal. You then just want to position it to the position that suits you the most. So I'm just going to lower it a bit just so it fits in with the ground. There we go. For now, that's good enough for now. We will, however, make this more realistic later on in the series, and I will show you how to do this. We do hope that you have enjoyed the video and are looking forward to the next videos in this RPG series. Please do consider subscribing and hitting the like button. Also do consider joining our Discord. Thank you again, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.